Welcome back to the news today. This is One-on-One. Tonight I have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Hani Basoos, a professor of political science in the Gaza Strip, for his perspective on the situation in Gaza, its causes and future. Good evening. Good to have you finally here.
Good evening. Nice to see you again.
I think that I cannot believe that I'm actually interviewing you face to face.
Yeah, well, for the past 6 months, maybe we have been on the phone, committed many interviews with you, but this is the first time in the studio. It's difficult to make it. Somebody from Gaza to come here, it's more difficult than you can imagine.
Let's try to explain to the viewers what it took you to get to the Jaffa Port from the Gaza Strip.
Well, it's not as difficult as you expect, but for me it was easy that I have a permission to come for 1 day. I'm gonna leave this evening, going back to Gaza. But for most people, it's so difficult, especially Gaza has been blocked from the Egyptian side and from the Israeli side. And even I think from the Israeli side, I could witness today in the morning when it came through Erz crossing that hundreds of Palestinians traveling from Gaza to the Israeli side. But nobody is leaving Gaza from the Egyptian side, meaning that the more permissions are given to people in Gaza to be able to move in and out of the Gaza Strip through Erz checkpoint.
Inside Israel?
Yes.
Then inside the Gaza Strip? Then inside Egypt?
Yeah, which is something I think really good. People believe that some steps has been taken by the Israeli authorities to help people in Gaza to be able to move in and out of the Gaza Strip would help most people. For me, this is the first time I am in Jaffa. This is the first time I am coming to the Israeli side since I was a child. It means that...
Since when?
Well, maybe 20 years' time.
Since 20 years?
Yeah, maybe more. So
you weren't able to get a permission? You weren't able to get
Well,
out
I did
of
not
Gaza?
apply. I did not apply because I have nothing to do here. But when I applied for the permission, I was granted. And I think that was something really positive, because leaving Gaza and make it easy to Jaffa, it's making me happy, because when I was leaving Gaza to UK, to anywhere else from Egypt, usually it takes ages. It takes 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. But leaving Gaza to Jaffa, it takes only 3 hours, which is easy.
You know, we've been seeing a lot of what is happening in the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
And we've been seeing the situation in the Gaza Strip. So you come from the destruction in the Gaza Strip and you come to this side and you see even the Arab side and the Jewish side living in much better situation than the people in the Gaza Strip. And what is the first thing that comes into your mind?
Well, the first thing that I would like to watch my mouth, because anything I could speak here maybe would be counted against me. But anyway, to be frank with you, the situation here, it's much better than anywhere else. Now, watching people living side by side is something amazing. We do not have such situation in Gaza, nor in the West Bank, meaning that being left behind in the Gaza Strip, making people living in a dire situation, sad situation. But watching today, when I was watching the situation in Al-Aqsa Mosque, in the old city, I was watching Jews, Muslims, and Christians living side by side. It's something amazing. I could not believe how people friendly could be. I know that sometimes you have clashes, but this is not something common. The common thing which have been today, what I've been watching today, it's you can eat falafel in the old city, you can eat shawarma, you can drink tea or coffee, you can walk side by side by a Jew, by a Christian, by a Muslim, which meaning the peaceful life. This, I think, what people need to have in Gaza and in the West Bank, but they do not have it.
How can you describe right now this? It's amazing what you're saying, because we live so close to each other, maybe an hour drive, and we don't know so much about each other. And it's amazing that you're saying that it's a surprise to you that Jews and Muslims and Christians are actually can sit down in one restaurant and eat from the same falafel stand.
Yeah, well, I lived in the West, like in the UK. I spent time And then I know what does it mean, a mixed society, multicultural society. But this does not happen in Palestinian territories. But in the Israeli side here, I could see this again. This makes me happy that maybe one day we're going to have binational state, Palestinians, Israelis, Muslims, Jews, Christians, seculars, people with other faith could be living side by side with coexistence. Maybe these words I'm saying here would cause me trouble one day with, I don't know, somebody in Palestinian side, but this is what I believe in. And I think that most people, if they have the chance, they would choose to live in a peaceful situation. Most people would like to live in a peaceful situation having electricity, like we don't have in the Gaza Strip. We're having electricity 6 hours a day, which is, I don't know what we're going to do with 6 hours. We have, so I'm excited, but I'm so tired at the same time.
Okay.
Having water sometimes mixed with sewage. We don't have the basic medical equipment. When you go to the hospital, for example, sometimes you have to pay money. And even if you don't have to pay money, you don't have the equipment, you don't have the medical doctors, the education. We have the strikes by teachers because they don't have salaries. So you don't have schools for kids sometimes for days. I'm not going to describe the situation, but I think if you would like to ask people, you're going to find that most of them, they want to live a decent life. They want to have a freedom, peaceful situation. They want to have income, house, tent. Even if you have a tent, sometimes having a tent overhead with some food, equipment, salary, that would be a basic life that would make it really nice for them.
Dr. Basoos, who are the people in the Gaza Strip are angry at? Are they angry at the Palestinian Authority? Are they angry at Hamas? Are they angry at the Israelis? Who are they angry at?
Well, to be frank with you, I think people in Gaza, especially in Gaza, are angry at all parties, Hamas, Fatah, and the Israeli side, because all of them have committed a crime against the society in Gaza. When you talk about the clashes, the confrontation, the war, the one who pay for this is me and other Palestinian citizens in the Gaza Strip. I was watching the situation myself. It was so difficult, like living in Gaza, and I was watching the rockets, the bombings, the kids dying. It was so difficult.
What was so difficult for you?
Okay. Well, I think everything was difficult, not only for me, but for most Palestinians in the Gaza Strip living in that situation. I cannot imagine the scenes. It was horrific in Gaza. Everything.
What is hurting you so much?
Well, everything I think is so difficult. Being able or not able to live a decent life, being not able to have security, safety, to be able to move. I think living in a Gaza Strip, feeling like you live in not a cell, like in a cage. You cannot have the basic, even if you live in a cage, sometimes you have the basic needs. You have electricity, you have water, you have decency, but you have nothing in Gaza. And this is, it depends. Sometimes for some people you have most commodities, but most people cannot have nothing to live. Some of them living in tents cannot have nothing, basic food, commodities. I mean, sometimes even words cannot describe the situation, how it is in Gaza, but people do not know much about other world because they have not been out of the Gaza Strip.
Is there any chance for better life for the children of Gaza?
Well, I think maybe one day. For me, I lived outside Gaza. I was in the UK, I was in Belgium, I was in many places, and I know what does it mean, life, freedom, decency, honesty. But most people who have never been outside Gaza, they don't know. They only know one way, one sort of life. They cannot think outside the box. So for most of them, life is so one shape, one size. They don't know what's in, what's out. So you just keep looking for the food and accommodation and decent life. But for me, I'm not only me, but for people who have been out in Gaza, they understand the meaning of life, the freedom, the human aspect of freedom of speech and social life and so on and so forth.
Dr. Basoos, I can talk to you for hours. I wish that you will give the children of Gaza a bigger perspective and huge perspective on life.
I'm sorry, I've been emotional somehow.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being emotional. Thank you for this. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for coming to the Jaffa Port, and I hope that you will come much more to the Jaffa Port to visit us. Thank you very much.